Secretary Fortunato de la Peña, Secretary Gregorio Honasan, Mr. Rene Butch-Mailey, to our Philippine startup community. Ladies and gentlemen, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. We are pleased to see that despite the COVID-19 pandemic, we can still come together, even virtually, as one community. As we navigate the new normal, we hope that this week's event featuring the best of our people's creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship can inspire others to dream for a better normal. In the following days, Filipinos, both here and abroad, as well as our friends from other countries, can discover opportunities, collaborate on related projects, and invest in prospective partners in the local startup scene. More importantly, the Philippine Startup Week will showcase Filipino ingenuity powering the new, relevant, and disruptive innovations addressing the needs of our society and our people. This is especially significant given how the world is becoming increasingly digital in the wake of COVID-19 and the coming fourth industrial revolution. Before the pandemic, the Philippines had many startups already making a name for themselves in innovation and entrepreneurship. For example, One Export is an enterprise solution startup that was the Sogal Global Pitch Competition 2020 winner. Propital is a fintech startup that has deployed 1,300 loans and has over 700 farmers on their platform. Antipara Exploration is an industrial startup that has received 1 million pesos in investment from the Idea Space program. But like other industries, our startup industry was heavily affected by the COVID-19 pandemic with challenges like job losses, business disruptions, and cost reduction. Fortunately, it has powered through with its relevant business models and their agility and ability to innovate and move faster. In fact, in a survey conducted by PricewaterhouseCoopers, 21% of the respondents said that the lockdowns resulted in an increasing demand for their services and products. As we slowly reopen our economy, we believe startup enterprises will play an instrumental role in helping our country to recover. First is through the innovation that they bring to the table by providing solutions that ease people's burdens through technology. Second, we believe startups can help in enabling the digital transformation of our micro, small, and medium enterprises. Our traditional brick-and-mortar businesses, especially the SMEs, need to digitalize their operations in order to thrive and be competitive in the post-pandemic economy. That is why it is crucial to facilitate the collaboration between micro SMEs and startups so as to generate more and better opportunities for employment and entrepreneurship. Furthermore, we need to sustain and enhance our efforts to support our local startups and grow our startup ecosystem to drive our country's innovation progress. The government has been doing its part to achieve these goals. President Rodrigo Roa Duterte signed RA or Republic Act number 11337 or the Innovative Startup Act and the RA 11293 or the Philippine Innovation Act last year to support local startups and the startup ecosystem in the country. And before the pandemic, the Department of Trade and Industry has been establishing startup support programs. These include incubation and acceleration services, matching grants, micro SME and startup linkage activities, our startup business one-stop shop, and various international and global exposure and networking events. Of course, DTI also partnered with Idea Space Foundation, JP Morgan, and the Department of Science and Technology to establish the QBO or Cubo Innovation Hub, the in-country's first public-private initiative for startups and co-organizer of today's event. That's why as we hold the Philippine Startup Week, we look forward to your active engagement in the many different activities and community events. For example, during our Slingshot Conference on Wednesday, November 25, we will tackle collaboration opportunities and listen to experiences shared by our guests, local and international speakers. We will also recognize highly promising startups participating in the online Seed Stars Manila competition, which will be the culminating activity of the week this Friday. We hope that you will take advantage of these events and acquire valuable learnings and partnerships with fellow innovators and entrepreneurs. In closing, DTI, together with QBO, DOST, the DICT, and private sector partners like the PLDT Group, affirm our commitment to support local startups and your community of innovators, entrepreneurs, and enablers. Doing so will not only push the Philippines' innovative progress and solve societal problems, but it would create more entrepreneurial opportunities in our country. These, in turn, would generate more jobs and employment for our people, which would enable them to attain a better and more comfortable quality of life for themselves. As we participate in the Philippine Startup Week 2020, let us dream bigger and brighter so that we can build a modern, dynamic, and responsive technology entrepreneurs in a post-COVID Philippines. We hope that everyone here will help to realize that dream with us. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay tayong lahat.
To our dear colleagues in the startup ecosystem, especially to our partners, Secretary Ramon Lopez of the Department of Trade and Industry and Secretary Gregorio Nasan III of the Department of Information and Communications Technology. To our partner agencies, both from the public and private sector, as well as everyone who has joined us here today, a pleasant morning to all of you. On behalf of the Department of Science and Technology, I would like to welcome you all to this opening ceremony of the second Philippine Startup Week. This event, which we started last year, is not just a showcase of Filipino startups and startup enablers, but this is also a showcase of what the startup community can do, especially during this pandemic. The past months have been really difficult for startups, as no one was prepared to deal with the crisis brought about by the COVID-19 disease. The community lockdowns had a massive impact on the startups. We believe that providing a platform for the startups to showcase their products and services, collaborate with potential clients and partners, and share best practices will send a message not just here in the country but also globally, that the Philippines is still a thriving startup country and we are ready to adapt to the changes of the new normal. When the DOST opened the call for COVID-19 solutions, many of the innovations that we received came from startups. This only proves how fast startups can develop innovative solutions that can impact the community. Among the notable projects that we supported is the Specimen Collection Booth or SCB designed by the Futuristic Aviation and Maritime Enterprise or FAME Incorporated. The DOST funded the development of 132 units of the SCB which were deployed to different government hospitals in the country. The DOST also funded a system to efficiently monitor the distribution of relief goods, which is the Project Ramdam or Resource Allocation Management, Distribution and Monitoring, developed by the startup company Geographic Innovations for Development Solutions or GRIDS Incorporated. The DOST provided support to GRIDS for the enhancement of the system, testing and deployment to selected barangays in Los Baños, Laguna. Our technology business incubators or TBIs, which are facilities that provide support and services to the startups, have also rallied to the call for COVID protection and utilize their facilities for producing face shields. They also continue their operations despite lockdown and conduct online mentoring systems, host online events, and perform virtual checks with their startups. We at the DOST believe that innovation is the key, whether it's growth or scalability or survival of our startups. Technology now dominates every aspect of our life every day. People work online, supply food and supplies online, watch movies and shows, schedule medical appointments online, manage their money online, and educate their children online. It was a future brought fast forward today, and it underlined the important role of technology to help keep small businesses going. This pandemic has changed the definition of the word normal, and the ways and strategies that used to work for startups may not work for them now and in the future. That means only those that are willing to embrace the change and adapt appropriately and fast will be able to survive. Let this Philippine Startup Week 2020 be also our way of showing our startup that you are not alone and that the government is here with you as you power up the new normal. Let us continuously work hand in hand with the government and the private sector so we can do more. We hope that you will take the opportunity to attend the main summits organized by the three government agencies and learn what each can offer to the startup community. My warmest congratulations to everyone who worked to make the Philippine Startup Week 2020 possible and a success. May we all have a fruitful and productive week ahead. Maraming salamat po.
Department of Science and Technology, Secretary Boy de la Peña, Department of Trade and Industry, Secretary Mon Lopez, DOST Undersecretary Rowena Cristina Guevara, DTI Undersecretary Rafaelita M. Aldaba, Department of Information and Communications Technology, Assistant Secretary Manny Caintic, QBO Innovation Hub President Rene S. Meili, Director Emilu Delfin of the DICT, fellow public servants, partners from the private sector and the academe, dignitaries, friends, good morning. In September this year, the Philippines received recognition as one of the top digital risers worldwide, specifically as the top digital riser in East Asia and the Pacific region, based on the Digital Riser Report 2020, released by the prestigious European Center for Digital Competitiveness. For those of you who are not familiar with it, the Digital Riser Report analyzes and ranks the changes in the digital competitiveness of countries over the last 3 years, based on the digital ecosystem and mindset. It builds upon data from the Global Competitiveness Report published by the World Economic Forum every year. The report attributed the improvement in the Philippines' digital competitiveness to a number of factors. Most notably, the passage of the Republic Act 11337 or the Innovative Startup Act last year, with the goal of strengthening, promoting, and developing an innovative and entrepreneurial ecosystem and culture. The Act mandates the creation of the Philippine Startup Development Program, or PSDP, which offers benefits and incentives for startups and startup enablers, a program recognized by the Digital Riser Report as a lighthouse initiative. The DICT, as one of the lead agencies in the implementation of the PSDP, is implementing the Digital Startup Project, an initiative aimed at developing the Startup Philippines portal, or www.startups.gov Philippines, establishing innovation studios in strategic areas, supporting innovators through the Philippine Startup Grant Fund, and promoting a culture of innovation through the creation of the Innovation Network for Filipino Trailblazers. We are now focusing on the development of the Startup Philippines website, a platform where information, statistics, events, programs, and benefits for startups, startup enablers, and other relevant stakeholders are accessible. We encourage everyone to actively participate in the discussions and activities we have lined up this week to know more about these programs. The Philippine Startup Week is being held to help disseminate information on the different projects and initiatives to support the Philippine startup industry, especially amid the ongoing health crisis. Likewise, this conference aims to provide an avenue where startups can share experiences, connect, collaborate, and gain exposure for their respective ventures. Hence, please use this opportunity to better understand how your companies could benefit from available support from both the government and the private sector. Use this opportunity to network with like-minded people, innovative, daring, willing and able to make a change in the country and in the world. On behalf of the DICT and our partner agencies, welcome to Philippine Startup Week 2020. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay tayong lahat.
As I picked my way through the loose plywood boards and overhanging tarps of what was left of people's homes in the fishing community of Tiwi Albay, where Super Typhoon Rolly made landfall, I caught a glimpse of my own volcano in the distance. It was brooding and majestic, and as it rose above the clouds, a sense of hope rushed through me, along with the belief that we will overcome our problems. That's the way I feel about Philippine Startup Week. Each year, it gives me confidence that our startups will break through and overcome the gaps in our ecosystem. The youth and vitality of our founders, their dogged optimism and courage in trying new things, offers me a faith that a Philippine unicorn or a successful initial public offering is just around the corner. Philippine Startup Week is the catalyst for the whole startup ecosystem. Once a year, it gathers together everyone who has an interest in Philippine startups and opens the door so they can experience the novel, the groundbreaking, the shooting for the moon qualities that so embody this millennial generation. They are fearless and less bound by tradition than any of us who grew up in the past century. Accelerators and incubators like Phsw and IdeaSpace are important because they provide the oxygen that gives birth to startups. And startups are one of the keys to the revival of the Philippine economy. With their technology, they are at the lead of the new digital landscape. They allow us so many opportunities to do things online that we never dreamed of a few years ago. Learning, buying, consuming entertainment. MetroMart lets you order your groceries without stepping foot in a supermarket. Suki Plus enables sari-sari stores to access loans digitally. Front Learners allows teachers to conduct classes remotely. Kubo, together with Youth Business International and supported by Google, held a competition where the top startups that created COVID solutions received 100,000 pesos each. Kubo has also migrated from a physical space to hosting all of its programs online, including one with DOST for incubators around the country and another with the Australian government that supports women-led startups and is called Startup Pinay. The world is changing and Philippine startups are showing us the way. We have a real showcase for you this year The next 5 days will feature a record 56 community events with 3 pitching competitions, 160 speakers, and over 5,000 participants. Silicon Valley, India, Indonesia, even Hungary, they are all part of Startup Week. Let me thank the Department of Science and Technology, the Department of Trade and Industry, and the Department of Information and Communications Technology for their support. My gratitude goes to the Kubo team in particular, led by Kat Chan and Natasha Bautista, for their hard work and many long nights to make this event come true. One startup success is a success for all of us. So let us cooperate and collaborate because we are stronger together. Let us be the symbol and the spearhead for a better and more open country. Like Mayon volcano, we will rise above the clouds of COVID-19, typhoons, and anything else that may bar our way. Let this great event begin.
Welcome to the Philippines
Startup Week 2020.
Filipino startups,
Powering up the new normal.